Let's start. MTC. Day 05, Number 1. For companies interested in delighting customers, exceptional value and service become part of the overall company culture. For example, year after year, Pisano ranks at or near the top of the hospitality industry in terms of customer satisfaction. Pisano. The company's passion for satisfying customers is summed up in its credo, which promises that its luxury hotels will deliver a truly memorable experience. Although a customer-centered firm seeks to deliver high customer satisfaction relative to competitors, it does not attempt to maximize customer satisfaction. A company can always increase customer satisfaction by lowering its price or increasing its services. But this may result in lower profits. Thus, the purpose of marketing is to generate customer value profitably. This requires a very delicate balance. The marketer must continue to generate more customer value and satisfaction but not give away the house. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 05, Number 2. What is unusual about journalism as a profession is its lack of independence. In theory, practitioners in the classic professions, like medicine or the clergy, contain the means of production in their heads and hands, and therefore do not have to work for a company or an employer. They can draw their income directly from their clients or patients. Because the professionals hold knowledge, moreover, their clients are dependent on them. Journalists hold knowledge, but it is not theoretical in nature. One might argue that the public depends on journalists in the same way that patients depend on doctors, but in practice a journalist can serve the public usually only by working for a news organization, which can fire her or him at will. Journalists' income depends not on the public, but on the employing news organization, which often derives the large majority of its revenue from advertisers. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 05, Number 3. In most of the world, capitalism and free markets are accepted today as constituting the best system for allocating economic resources and encouraging economic output. Nations have tried other systems, such as socialism and communism, but in many cases they have either switched wholesale to or adopted aspects of free markets. Despite the widespread acceptance of the free market system, markets are rarely left entirely free. Government involvement takes many forms, ranging from the enactment and enforcement of laws and regulations to direct participation in the economy through entities like the U.S. mortgage agencies. Perhaps the most important form of government involvement, however, comes in the attempts of central banks and national treasuries to control and affect the ups and downs of economic cycles. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 05, Number 4. Touch receptors are spread over all parts of the body, but they are not spread evenly. Most of the touch receptors are found in your fingertips, tongue, and lips. On the tip of each of your fingers, for example, there are about 5,000 separate touch receptors. 5. In other parts of the body there are far fewer. In the skin of your back, the touch receptors may be as much as 2 inches apart. 2. You can test this for yourself. Have someone poke you in the back with 1, 2, or 3 fingers and try to guess how many fingers the person used. If the fingers are close together, you will probably think it was only 1. But if the fingers are spread far apart, you can feel them individually. Yet if the person does the same thing on the back of your hand, with your eyes closed, so that you don't see how many fingers are being used, you probably will be able to tell easily, even when the fingers are close together. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 05, Number 5. One way of measuring temperature occurs if an object is hot enough to visibly glow, such as a metal poker that has been left in a fire. The color of a glowing object is related to its temperature. As the temperature rises, the object is first red and then orange, and finally it gets white, the hottest color. The relation between temperature and the color of a glowing object is useful to astronomers. The color of stars is related to their temperature, and since people cannot as yet travel the great distances to the stars and measure their temperature in a more precise way, astronomers rely on their color. This temperature is of the surface of the star, the part of the star which is emitting the light that can be seen. The interior of the star is at a much higher temperature, though it is concealed. But the information obtained from the color of the star is still useful. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 05, Number 6. Even though institutions like the World Bank use wealth to differentiate between developed and developing countries, they also agree that development is more than economic growth. World Bank. Development can also include the social and environmental changes that are caused by or accompany economic growth, some of which are positive and thus may be negative. Awareness has grown, and continues to grow, that the question of how economic growth is affecting people and the planet needs to be addressed. Countries are slowly learning that it is cheaper and causes much less suffering to try to reduce the harmful effects of an economic activity or project at the beginning, when it is planned, than after the damage appears. To do this is not easy and is always imperfect. But an awareness of the need for such an effort indicates a greater understanding and moral concern than did the previous widespread attitude that focused only on creating new products and services. MTC. Good job.